Welcome, guys. Welcome to GenAI in Fintech Meetup's fourth virtual event tonight. Before we kick off, I would like to start with the acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting here today. I also pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I like to extend that respect to other Aboriginal and also Torres Strait Islander people here today. My name is Kurt Young, and I'm the founder of GenAI in Fintech Meetup and your host for this evening. I'm a digital banking product manager at a company called Sandstone Technology. It's a white-labeled digital banking SaaS technology provider for more than 30 banking financial institutions globally. Personally speaking, I'm super passionate about lean product management and also GenAI technologies application in fintech industry, hence why I created this meetup not long ago. I also provide a bit of a ad hoc lean product management consulting services to startups and product coaching to individuals. That's actually how I got to know our guest speaker Angela tonight. For more information, please feel free to check out my personal website, kurtyoung.com, which I'll be sharing with you guys later on. Just a couple of quick housekeeping stuff before I introduce our guest speaker, Angela. Please feel free to raise your questions in the chat section, which we'll be addressing them after Angela's presentation and demo. Please mute yourself while either me or our guest speaker, Angela, is presenting. And also the session is being recorded for future sharing and learning purposes. And that recording I'll be sharing with you guys after the session tonight. Okay, without much further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Angela Xu. Angela is the founder and the CEO of Empathetic AI. She has been spending the past 14 years as a finance leader in the fintech industry, working with company that is heavily technology driven. Empathetic AI, for those of you don't know much about it, they recently launched their first Gen AI powered text Copilot product called Luna. The idea of Luna actually came from Angela's own experience working with complexities of tax compliance, especially when she had to handle tax optimizations across different jurisdictions as a regional CFO for a global company. So here you are. Take it away, please, Angela. All yours.
Thanks, Kurt. Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to do the presentation and introduce my journey tonight at Fintech Meetup. So thanks, Kurt, for inviting me. My name is Angela Xu. As Kurt mentioned, that I spent 14 years as a finance professional in the fintech industry. So I used to be the CFO in public and private companies. So I founded Empathetic AI in February last year. So it's been 18 months journey for me since I started to be the entrepreneur. And the product we are launching now, as you guys can see on the screen, is called AI Tax Copilot. So we name it Luna. So Luna we aim to help tax and finance professionals reduce their research time on the tax legislations and laws, and also try to help them tackle the complexity of the taxation. Okay, so next slide, please, Kurt. Okay, so why we build AI Tax Copilot? When I was a CFO in the public and private companies, one of my job duties was to optimize the tax planning across different jurisdictions. I'm based in Australia, and the company have subsidiaries in Singapore, in Japan, in Middle East, in Europe. So part of my job is to optimize the tax planning across different jurisdictions, and I found that forming the tax opinion for the complex scenarios is very, very time consuming. In fact, Australia has one of the most complex tax systems in the world with various legislations and laws. If you asked 10 Aussie people, do you feel like tax is complex? 10 out of 10 would say yes, want to do the tax returns. So not to mention, for the enterprises and businesses. And SMEs in Australia actually spend billions of dollars each year for the tax compliance costs. And because tax in Australia is on a case law basis, which means that there's new cases coming up every single day. So it's actually very challenging for the professionals to keep their knowledge up to date as well. So that's the initial inspiration for me to create such tax solution using generative AI. So we had the privilege of winning the 3rd place in Australia's first AI Sprint, hosted by National AI Centre in June. Okay, so next slide, please, Kurt. Okay, so our tax copilot's name is Luna. And basically we have 3 products. So we launched Luna in July, which is last month. And we also have 2 other products which will be rolled out very soon. The second one is called DocWise, and the third one is called Drafty. So basically, Luna is trained on the entire ATO's legal database, which is publicly available on ATO's website. But that legal database is huge, it's massive, since 1936. And Luna can handle the complex tax scenarios. So if you pop up with the complex tax scenarios, it can give you not only the the references, legislation, but also the reasoning behind the decision. So before we officially released the product Luna on 2nd of July, we actually showcased the demo to the ATO in May. And the company was founded February last year, so it really took us a bit of time to train the data to make sure that reducing the hallucination and increasing the accuracy. So we did a lot of testing on the demo's performance before we officially released on the 2nd of July. So we have a community for the domain experts. So in the community, there are more than 50 domain experts keep providing their feedback and opinions for the Luna's performance, so that we take consideration of their feedback for the further improvement of backend algorithm. So Luna can also capture the real-time updates on the private rulings and cases on the ATO's legal database. And we also have a function called feedback. So for the domain expert, so you can keep providing your feedback so that we take consideration for the future improvement. That's for Luna. And the second one is DocWise, which will be released in September. So that product is basically for the finance professional and tax professional, so that you can upload all kind of financial documents to ask the system to do the summarize, do the analyze for you. Because in finance, we do a lot of financial trend analysis, forecast and budgeting, stuff like that. And Drafty is to help you draft the tax advice. So we provide the templates. So I'm gonna discuss that later in detail. So basically, once all 3 products are ready, it's an end-to-end solution for the tax and tax professionals to draft the tax advice and ready to serve their clients. Okay, so next slide, please. A lot of you might ask about, what's the difference between Luna and ChatGPT. So Luna is actually a vertical domain LLM. So we call it a small language model instead of a large language model, right? So it's a vertical domain and it's trained specifically for the taxation niche, and is specifically designed for the tax professionals. So it has the higher accuracy compared to the general models such as ChatGPT. And also we created the technique called desensitization, because we understand that in the financial services and professional services, professionals are not allowed to disclose their clients' information to a third party. We are a technology service provider, so we're a third party. So they are not allowed to disclose any of their clients' information to a third party. So that's why we understand the concern. That's why we create such technique called desensitization. So desensitization means that all the sensitive information will be removed from the front end. So it's not going to the backend algorithm whatsoever. But when you start drafting that advice, text advice to serve your clients, you can click a button and then it adds back. And over the time, we help you build a dictionary to define what is called sensitive information based on your definition. Is that company name you treat it as a sensitive information, or is it amount, or is a combination? So what's your definition of the sensitive information, so that we can help you remove that from the front end. And automated reference check. If you use ChatGPT for the text-related questions, we can do the live testing later on. You would notice that there's no specific reference which direct you to the corresponding legislation and laws. So Luna can do that. So that's one of the biggest selling point for Luna. So we've spent a lot of effort trying to capture the most relevant references for you. And also the real-time data updates, because on the legal database, we can see private rulings and cases get updated if it's not daily, weekly basis. So because Austrian's taxation is on a case law basis, so it's super important that you keep your knowledge up to date. So Luna can capture the real-time information from the legal database. Okay, so next slide, please. So starting from this slide, I'm going to highlight some of the features of Luna. So first of all, it's a reference check and desensitization, as I said. So the reference check at the moment, I'm going to show the demo later, but at the moment, we keep the reference at the bottom. So when you click that reference, it's going to redirect you to the corresponding legislation and laws. And in the future, we're going to do the inline reference, which is going to be like a Wikipedia. So it's all hyperlink. So when we talk about a decision, tax optimization decision, and when you click that reference, it's going to redirect you to the corresponding cases and private rulings in the past. And desensitization, the system can automatically detect the sensitive words, and then you can use the button at the bottom called replace, so that it's going to replace to a general term. Let's say the company name is Empathetic AI, which is a sensitive word, and then when you click replace, it's going to be replaced to a general words like ABC company. So over the time, as I mentioned, that we can help you build a dictionary to define what's called sensitive information. Okay, next slides. This is another features of Luna. So because for the tax legislation is super complex, there are different database in the entire publicly available legal database. So there are legislations, there are laws, there are cases and private rulings and public rulings, and since 1936, so you got different hierarchies. So in order to help you capture the most relevant information, most relevant references, we create a drop-down list called data source, so that you can select which database you want the system to search first. That really depends on your role, because Luna is designed to meet the requirement for 4 different kinds of people, 4 different kinds of professionals. One is called tax accountant, and the other one is called tax advisors, and the third one is called tax lawyers, and fourth one is called tax managers in the company. So the first 3 types of tax professional working in the accounting firms, and the fourth one, the last category, they are the tax professional working in the company, but they also need to, kind of optimize their internal tax planning. So that's why it really depends on their role. Based on our conversation with a lot of domain experts, depending on their role, maybe they want to refer to the legislation as their top priority. They want to see the law. Or for some smaller firms, maybe they're more interested in seeing the private rulings or the public rulings. So that's why we think that creating such drop-down list so that the system can capture which one is the most relevant to you, so that we can do a data re-ranking for you. Okay, so next slide, please. And in terms of asking questions, prompt engineering really matters at the moment, because text scenario could be very, very complex. A good prompt can really help Luna better understand your question and your scenarios. Even for individual, your scenario could be very complex. Like, for example, you have 2 kids, you have overseas income, you have investment property, you just sold a property and you're planning to buy another one, you have family trust. So not to mention businesses or enterprises, their scenario could be very, very complex. So in order for Luna to really better understand your question, we provide 20 different kinds of prompt templates to help you better draft the question, so that Luna can better understand your question and give you the most accurate answer. Okay, so next slides, please. That's a snapshot of the legal database from the ATO website, but obviously ATO's legal database is only part of the database we train the model, but that's already very huge. That's already very massive. But put aside the legal database from the ATO website, there's also ATO community. So when you have questions, and then you can post a question on the in the ATO community, and then there's some expert verified answers, verified expert to answer your questions. So we also take consideration of the top ranked answers in the ATO's community. And because, as I mentioned, now we create the desensitization techniques, which mean that for all the sensitive data, so we can remove the sensitive data from the first place. So all the data become general data. So that's why we also have the closed source data to train the model. But I just want to give everyone a snapshot about how ATO's legal database looks like. So they have type, they have topic, and our model is trained based on different topics, because we think that it's more relevant if your question have multiple topics, such as fringe benefit tax or income tax or GSTs, based on different topics. So that's the hierarchy and re-ranking of the legal database. Okay, so next slide, please. That's the full product pipeline for Empathetic AI. So obviously we released Luna, which is the first one. We also going to have DocWise, so which means that tax professional, finance professional, they can upload the financial document into the system, so the system can provide the insights and provide the analysis, and really generate the insights to the finance or tax professional. And also the third one is drafting. So drafting means we help the professionals draft the tax advice, so it's ready to serve the clients. And the last one would be the tailored solution. That's for the enterprises. So the first 3 are for the SMEs, and the last one, customized solutions for the enterprises. So we offer the API, and we also train the customized database. And obviously, we also do the on-site workshop. I regularly do the workshop in the community to share how the finance professional can use AI solutions. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you. So in terms of market, AI tax advisor market is relatively wide open at the moment, because in Australia only we have 200,000 tax and finance professionals, and we have about 37,000 accounting firms, not to mention the tax department in the corporate. So I believe that each company have at least one finance manager if they cover tax functions as well. Some of the company they have a specific tax department to optimize their tax planning, such as the global companies. So in Australia only, the market size is about 2 billion. And from the global perspective, by 2030, so the market would be USD almost 39 billion. And at the moment, there's no comprehensive AI solutions specifically for the tax advisory market, at least in the Australian market. So we've seen one called TaxGPT in the US. So they're currently covering the US and Canada market, they were just accepted by YC in this cohort. So I believe in the future for taxation or, for example, financial planning, this kind of specific niche market, they need to have a vertical domain LLM in each country. Because I don't believe that, for example, the tax professional in Australia, they would use tax GPT created by a US company simply because for the vertical domain LLM, there need to be a lot of domain expertise because there need to be another layer for the evaluation. That's, we need a lot of human in the loop to verify the answers. So the vertical domain LLM can go very, very deep. So that's why we think that, first of all, we're going to focus on the Australian market, simply because for Australian taxation is already complex enough. So, and over the time, one of the goal or one of the valuable benefit of using Luna or the value Luna can create to the society is that by accumulating very valuable case scenario analysis, Luna can become a kind of AI AI community for the taxation questions. Is something like equivalent of the ATO community where you have a place to ask questions and then you have verified answers and it's free of charge, so people can refer to the top ranked questions if they don't know the answer. So over the time, it will become a very valuable resources for the tax research and for the policymakers. Why I'm saying that? Because let's think about in Australia, Australia's tax rate is relatively high, right? So if we want to do investment in the Asia Pacific region, and then the biggest competitor was the first impression, perhaps in your mind as well, is Singapore. Singapore obviously have a much lower tax rate, and in terms of individual tax rate, put aside the business tax rate, individual tax rate is also relatively high. And how can we attract the talent from the tax perspective? That's a lot of things, considerations when we think about international transfer pricing or international investment, benchmarking. So from the international competitive perspective, yeah. So there's a lot of considerations in this area that we can improve. So by having such AI tools, and over the time, you accumulate a lot of case studies and scenario analysis, it can really provide valuable resources for the policymakers. So that's why before we officially release Luna on 2nd of July, we actually showcased a demo to ATO twice in May and try to get their, first of all, we try to get their permission and try to get their attitudes towards adopting AI in the taxation area. And obviously they have been very supportive. And secondly is that part of the ATO's job is also to reduce the tax compliance cost for SMEs and individuals. And because it's getting way too complex, and because it's a case law basis, and over the time it's only going to be more and more complex if you don't use any AI tools. So naturally, finance and taxation, which is heavily data-driven, is a very good starting point to use AI. But the question is, how can we build the trust? How can we address people's concern in terms of data privacy and security? How can we at the maximum level reduce the hallucination? Yeah. So next slide, please. That's a simple demo video, but we're also let's have a look at the demo video, and later on I'm gonna live test the demo.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. Oh, we do have a music.
Can you hear the sound, or you can't hear the sound? All right. Let me just reshare, because I think when you share the screen, you need to share the sound. Let me just quickly stop share or reshare my screen to make sure I share the sound tab. Share tab audio. I'm sharing the audio. Interesting. Okay. To share audio, share a tab instead. Asking to share a tab. Ooh, okay. It's going to be tricky because we have it it's a PowerPoint document.
Yeah, but that's all right. So it's only
Yeah,
just the background music.
yeah. All right. Well, in that case, let's just come back to the sharing. Bear with me one sec. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I think that was it.
Yeah. So and the last slide is just our LinkedIn account. Yes. And so if anyone would like to connect with us on LinkedIn, feel free to scan this QR code. Yeah. So and you can easily find me as well from our company account. Yeah, that's it. And I guess can I share
Yep,
my
for
screen to
sure.
show the demo?
Go for it.
Thank you. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so I just because I already logged in. So this is Luna's interface, and I'm going to do a comparison between Luna versus ChatGPT so that we can see the difference between vertical LLM versus the general LLM. So, and by the way, this is ATO's legal database I mentioned in my presentation. As we can see that each of the topic here have different subfolders. So, and if we go back to type, we can see the cases gets updated. That's 2024. And those are the 2024 cases which have already been updated and uploaded to ATO's legal database. So that's why I said it's very important to keep the the most up-to-date information. So starting from 1968, and if we look at the private advice, so that's 2024. That's the latest one. So August, we have 5th of August gets updated. And if we look at July, so as we can see that it gets updated on weekly basis. So that's why I said it's on the case law basis. It's super important to capture the real-time information as a tax professional. Okay, so let's test a question. I'm gonna pop the question to Luna as well as ChatGPT. So that's Luna, that's ChatGPT. We go back to Luna. Luna is generating. ChatGPT is also generating. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, Angela, is this one using GPT-4 or which version of the GPT are you using for this one?
Yeah, so this one is using 4.0.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, so we actually trained the model using 2 different methodologies. One is fine tuning, so we fine tune the Llama 3, and the other methodology is using RAG. So the version I'm showing now is using RAG, and then the model is GPT 4.0.
Got it.
And then yeah, so same question. I stroke to ChatGPT. Okay, first of all, let's look at the question. So what is tax implications for an Australian-based company implementing a global employee share scheme, particularly concerning the valuation and taxation of shares provided to employees outside of Australia? So that's the question I provided. And Luna gonna give you, first of all, it's gonna give you the relevant facts and circumstances based on the question you give to Luna. So those are the facts and circumstances. And then the second step, Luna is going to give you the legislation provisions and which section you need to refer to from the legal system. And then the third part would be relevant private rulings, and also give you the authorization number. You can see the specific number as well as the specific section in the legislation. And after that, it's going to give you the reason for the decision. And then within that reason of the decisions, you can see different scenarios, like scenario 1, scenario 2, and relevant legislation as well for different scenarios. And then at the end, it's going to provide you with a summary or conclusion. Or at the bottom, it's going to redirect you to the corresponding legislation and laws. If you click that one, you can see that's the ATO decision. That happened in 2010. And then if we go to ChatGPT with the same question, we can see that's the answer provided by ChatGPT. So tax relevance, residence valuation, treaty, and summary. So what's missing? First of all, missing the reference. The most important thing for the tax professional, finance professional to serve their clients or to give the advice is that you have to have the corresponding legislation to support your advice. So it's super important. Otherwise, it's not trackable. It's not traceable. So that's the first important thing. And secondly, if you look at the answer provided by ChatGPT, it says implementing a global employee share scheme involves careful planning to ensure compliance with tax obligations in multiple jurisdictions. So if I'm a customer, if I'm a customer with this question, if I go to my tax advisor or tax accountant, I don't want to hear it involves carefully planning to ensure the compliance. I need the advice. That's the whole point of approaching the tax professional. If you just tell me that you need careful planning, but what exactly the planning is, I need the details. That's the huge difference. If you go back to Luna, it gives you all the scenario analysis, relevant information, legislation, and private rulings. And then because this scenario gets different layers, it actually breaks down the scenario into different layers. Step 1, step 2, step 3, so actually break down. So that's why I said prompt engineering plays a very important role. If you ask a whole long paragraph, Luna it's a bit of a challenging for Luna to really understand. However, we're gonna provide 20 different types of prompt templates so that Luna can break it down correctly, so that it analyzes based on different layers, and then give you the most relevant scenario analysis and reasoning behind, and also automatic reference check. So if you follow this format, it's almost a ready to go tax advice for your clients. However, we're going to release DocWise and Drafty, which help you to kind of form the opinion, form the advice from the end to end. So ChatGPT for the specific scenario analysis is just too general. So that's the differences, main differences between vertical domain LLM and general model. Okay. Yeah, so I can just stop sharing and happy to take questions.
Cool. I think we haven't got any questions in the chat. I mean, like I have a whole bunch of questions, but before we get into the questions, I just want to say thank you. This is amazing. The presentation, the demo. I think for one, because I think I told you before, Angela, because we've met many times. My wife, she used to be a tax accountant for many years, so just seeing her struggles previously doing tax research and the amount of time, that frustration she had. For one, I can definitely vouch the value or use cases of what Luna can provide to the tax professional community. Yeah, so this is amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt.
Cool. Question-wise, guys, if you do have any questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself, just ask question or just ask Angela straight away or put in the chat, or otherwise I can, I have a whole bunch of questions here from my end. I'll just give a sec to see if anyone have any questions first. No? Okay. Well, in that case, I'll start with my one. I think probably I think this is the question you might come across quite often. How does your organization, Empathetic AI, deal with the ever-changing landscape of the Gen AI tech stack? It's just almost every week, every day, or something. There's a new tech stack coming up. There's new, or even ChatGPT or OpenAI got all these different versions, right? So do you have a strategy to kind of keep you ahead, but at the same time that doesn't sort of chew up too much of your development resources on this chasing the latest? How do you balance all that? Yeah.
Okay, so great question. So I guess we keep the very agile development. So we keep the lean structure and agile development because of first of all, as a startup, you product market fit is the most important thing. So even though that we're seeing even on daily basis, if it's not weekly, there's new models coming up very, very frequently. But the most important thing for getting into the higher barrier industries such as finance, taxation, healthcare, is to build trust, is to address people's concern. You really need to find out, your product market fit. Then, rather than just only focusing on the advancement of the technology. I mean, models, you can get the new models, update the new models very, very quickly, but does your product really address your end users' concern? I think that's the most important thing. During our product development process, we really take a lot of consideration from domain experts, because we think that finance and taxation and healthcare, even though I'm not from healthcare, but still those industries have high barrier to entry. So it's super important to take consideration of domain experts' opinion to keep improving your algorithm at the back end. As I mentioned, that we tried two different methodologies. One is fine tuning, and the other one is using RAG. But having said that, domain experts' opinion really plays a very important role, because we try to make our customer persona as clear as possible. I used to say tax and finance professional simply because I used to be a finance. I used to be the CFO in company. However, now we're specifically very, very clear. We target tax professionals, because even within the tax niche market, there's still tax advisor, tax accountant, tax lawyer, tax manager. There's different kind of a persona. So in order to do a good job in a niche market, you have to have a very clear customer persona. So based on their requirement, we keep iterating the product. So that's what I called agile development, and using the lean structure. Yeah. So
Yeah. Perfect. This is really music to my ears. I think we had this conversation, actually quite a few conversations around this, right? It sounds like some of the recommendations or the ideas I put forward as well. I think
yeah.
you really took to heart. So I'm very glad you guys really taking the value from what I mentioned to you. I think we got some questions here.
Yeah.
Dipesh, I hope I pronounced your name right, was asking how safer will will Luna be in terms of security aspects as it holds out? And actually, that's my second question as well. So I think he's asking that for me. Basically, I think you mentioned about the data desanitization, right? Just in general, other than that, or even including that, how do you address those data security? I'm sure this is very popular questions might come across to you a lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, I think data security and privacy and security. Privacy is privacy and security is security. So there are two different kind of things, right? So first of all, for the privacy, we did create a technique called desensitization, which remove all the sensitive data from the front end, and then it's not going to anywhere. It's not going to open AI or anywhere. So and then when the text professional try to draft the advice and ready to serve their clients, you can click a button and add it back. So this first in its kind technique was created and will be implemented into Luna next version, which will be released on 16th of August. And in terms of security, we use, so we're backed by Google Cloud. So we AWS. So we are AWS startup as well as Google Cloud startup. And also most important thing is we are collaborating with Saro's Data 61 responsible AI team to do a whole responsible AI framework and evaluation methodology specifically for Luna. So I guess that's the privilege of winning the AI Sprint. So we were lucky enough to have such opportunity to collaborate with government agency, and because obviously government agency have the highest level of data security, data privacy security and responsible AI requirement. So we were lucky enough to win that AI Sprint so that we have such opportunity to collaborate with the responsible AI team. So in the next following 8 months, because our project will last 8 months. So the first project, so actually it's two projects. One is the responsible AI project, and the other one is LLM and REG project, which is to enhance your performance of your model. So that's a second project. So for the first one, which is focusing on the responsible AI and data privacy and security, so they're going to provide a lot of expertise to us. So as a government agency, as a leading research institution. So because they have already developed such framework. Yeah.
That's amazing. Talking about building unfair advantage, right? I think you guys definitely taking that to the max. Like really fully utilizing all those like awards, relationships. I mean, this is actually what like me as a product advisor or a startup advisor always say. Just take advantage of all the edge you can have to build your unfair advantage. That is very, very important. Next question. I think I haven't seen any more from the chat. Next question from me. What were some of your biggest challenges you and your team faced while developing Luna?
Yeah. So I think the biggest challenge would be there's no benchmark for vertical domain LLM. So we do see independent third-party evaluation companies to do the evaluation for the general model. Let's say ChatGPT, what's the legacy, what's the pricing, what's the cost, and what's the performance overall. However, there's no such tool or independent third party do the evaluation for the vertical domain LLM, especially for the tax, because we've seen a lot of legal tech, like they're doing LLM for laws, but not taxation. I'm guessing the reason behind, because I used to be a finance professional. So if I reach out to a tax advisor or tax lawyer, my goal is not only just to know how to do it, like how much tax I can claim back for my tax return. It's not only like that. My goal is to know how can I reduce my tax payment, right? So how can I optimize my tax planning? So there's another layer on top of the legislation retrieval, which is not, so if you only talk about data retrieval, which is just to find the relevant information in the legal database, that's a basic layer. On top of that, there's another layer called intelligence layer, which help me optimize my planning, give me the advice, which is valuable advice. currently, all these kind of advice is based on professionals' experiences. However, how can you evaluate their advice? Like you go to see the doctor, and the doctor tell you to take this medicine, but how can you verify the doctor is right or wrong? You can't, because simply because you're not a domain expert. So that's the biggest challenge we are facing now. There's no independent third party to do the evaluation of the vertical domain model. That's why going forward, since we get the chance to collaborate with the national, SARA's Data 61, we're gonna do the first one. We're gonna create the benchmark. Since if there's nobody doing it right now, we're not afraid of doing so. By using Luna as an example, we can publish our, algorithm or how we train the model whatsoever inside and out. We wanna, in order to build a trust or break the concerns, to address the concerns from the professionals for the responsible AI or data privacy and security, we don't mind to build a very independent evaluation mechanism in collaboration with the government agency, using Luna as an example.
Wow, how exciting. I mean, being a trailblazer, sort of being the forefront of actually trailblazing this whole thing for the tech industry, that's actually really sounds really exciting.
Yeah. So I guess even we don't do it, someone else in the market gonna do it. I think it's a benefit for the entire society, for the vertical domain. This is one, and also for the industries which involved high complexity. There should be some AI tools or some kind of, if it's not AI, machine learning or whatsoever, to really tackle the complexity. So the biggest issue is the non-transparency and the high complexity. And due to this non-transparency, high complexity, we pay high, compliance costs. So that's why we have to have independent benchmark to evaluate the model.
Got it. Winston got a question here. What features do you see having in the near future in addition to chat, which is, the kind of, that chat interface? Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So we're going to release the second product called DocWise, and the third product called Drafty. So DocWise is actually a feature or function that you can upload all the financial documents or text document, so that the system can help you to analyze or summarize and provide the insights. And Drafty is to help you draft that text advice so that it's ready to serve your clients. So, but Luna, as the most important features, as a brand of as a core feature of this product portfolio, it still plays a very important role. So if you look at Luna's format here, it's pretty much a ready to go kind of format to serve your client. It has the relevant facts and circumstances, relevant legislation, private rulings and public rulings, scenario analysis and references. And in the future, going to have the inline reference, so it becomes a Wikipedia for taxation. So that's already pretty much gonna address tax professionals questions. But however, having said that, we're gonna also offer DocWise and Drafty in the future. I mean, the near future, which is September, October.
Exciting. Cool. Another question from me, I haven't seen many other ones from the chat, is what were some of the challenges and also maybe either pleasant or unpleasant surprises when you guys were trying to go to market with Luna, sort of doing the validation or going to the partnerships and stuff?
Well, so we actually attract quite a bit of attention or traction already from the domain experts, simply because I founded the company in February last year. Comparing to other AI startup, the product development in empathetic AI takes longer than other AI startup. The reason being, I think taxation and finance in general is very serious industry. I think that reducing hallucination and keeping the maximum level of the accuracy, or ensure that your model's performance is good enough before you officially release it, That's very important. So during that process, during that 18 months process, it's not only about product development, but also about building the trust with the community, with the tax or finance professionals along the journey. So after we officially released Luna, we already received quite a bit of, feedback, positive or negative, positive or negative. But both feedback are very, very important to us, because that's going to keep us improving, the backend algorithm, keep improving the features, and really let us polish the features, and then get the perfect product market fit in the future. But I think, 100% addressing tax professionals' concern in terms of data privacy and security, responsible AI still take time, because this industry is license based, right? So all the tax profession, they have their license, they either CPA or they have kind of a tax license. So for the professions like that, or for the industries like that, I think out of sudden there's a new tool for them, even though that it's going to increase their productivity, but still it takes time to build the trust. But I see this journey as a long-term journey. I see it at least 3-5 years or even 10 years. Eventually this industry or this profession going to be transformed in a good way, but it indeed going to take longer time than some specific or lower barrier industries. But I generally believe it's a very good starting point because it's data driven. You have the quality of the data really, determines, how suitable your product going to be. Because if the quality of the data is not good enough, it's going to be very challenging for you to train the model. Yeah.
Great. Cool. I think just given the interest of time, my last question is basically just what we collectively, as the audience, what can we do for you and your team, or actually for Luna as well?
Oh yeah. So it will be much appreciate if you can spread the word for us. So obviously, as I said, that we welcome all the feedbacks and we welcome all the testing. So feel free to sign up and do the testing. It's free of charge completely. So we're not, we're not planning to charge the customer until we fully satisfy with the performance of Luna. So I part of my entrepreneurship, mindset is that if the product can't benefit the entire society, I would rather not just do it. It's not only just for the financial incentive, but also I think this industry, because I've been in this industry for a long time, so I really understand the pain point and I really want to solve the problem. But in order to solve them and in order to maximize the benefits to most people, we need the feedback regardless is positive or negative. So that's why if you can spread the word, and then if more people test Luna and more feedback we can get, more consideration we can take, and we try to make Luna the best it can be. So that's the help. Perhaps you guys can help me. Yeah, would be really appreciated.
Fantastic. Well, on behalf of everyone here tonight, I'd like to thank Angela for your passionate and also very detailed sharing of your insights, creating Luna, and also just establishing your Empathetic AI, win all those awards. And I'm pretty sure in the near future, you guys are going to win more awards and, do more greater things. So definitely looking forward to the next chapter of Empathetic AI. So I might actually even invite you back to the show maybe 6 months later to talk about your next great invention from your organization. So very
Thank you
exciting.
so much. Yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you so much for having me. And it was such a fun to talk about my journey and share a little bit about Luna. Yeah, so I'm more than happy to share more when the new product is released on 16th of August. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So feel free to connect with Angela on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure she's like a top AI voice on LinkedIn. So if you search her name, Angela SHI, so her name will be on top. I think I've done some SEO with my work with my name as well. So if you search Kurt Yang on LinkedIn, my name should be the first one as well. So feel free to connect to both of us. Me, I'm also a sort of an enthusiast on Gen AI as well. Happy to chat on anything you guys are interested in. We actually have our next session planned in 2 weeks' time as well. So I don't have all the details for the next guest speaker and everything, but I will be sending out emails for the next one. So look out for that. And yeah, so without much else, and have a good night, and we'll